Fava beans are bright green, tender little beans. They're wonderful, but they don't start out this way. They start out in gigantic pods. Let's go through the process of getting them from looking like this to this so we can bring them to the plate. Every year we grow an amazing garden, and we've done fava beans the last 3 years. And I have a feeling about fava beans. I want to have lots of them or none of them. So this year we did some 8-foot arches. We did some vertical growing, and I grew fava beans over the entire 8-foot arch so that I would have a lot of them. This is kind of a labor-intensive process, so I want to be able to make the effort worth it in the end. I'd rather do a lot of them and yield enough beans to do like maybe 2 or 3 meals than just like doing it once and you just have like a little handful of beans. So selecting the pods is an important step. The farmer's market is probably where you're gonna get these. Sometimes like a Whole Foods will have them seasonally. I think of fava beans as like a springtime vegetable, fava beans and asparagus and artichokes and peas. Yeah, kind of all that stuff that you come out of winter and that's really what starts to land on the menu in the spring. So you might find these in the market, farmer's market, springtime-ish, May, April, and then through the summer too. So you're gonna select long pods that are wide, and when you feel them, you can feel that there's lots of beans in them. Because sometimes you'll get like a 10-inch long fava bean pod and there might be 3 beans in it. So you wanna make sure that you're not buying any blanks. You also want them to be a pretty green with not a ton of like black spots on them. Now, as far as feeling them, it should feel like the beans that are inside are not gigantic. You don't want the gigantic ones. So the gigantic beans tend to be starchy. There's an application for them. You can certainly make a wonderful fava bean hummus with them, but we're looking to yield bright green little fava beans. And when you feel up the fava bean pod, you want them to feel like they're in the neighborhood of like a nickel to maybe a quarter size at the biggest. And of course, they're not round like change, like money. They're gonna be more oblong. But as far as length goes, you want them to be in that neighborhood of, what would that be, like 1 inch or so in length. I recommend buying lots of them because this is a, kind of a labor-intensive process. If you just buy 12 fava bean pods, like you're gonna yield like this tiny handful of beans. So you might as well do a whole bunch of them because after they're prepped and they're in the fridge, they will be stable, they'll be fine there for a good 3 to 4 days. All right, so you've selected your beans, you're at home, we're gonna go just kind of assembly line. We're gonna take all of the beans out of the pods. We are shucking the pods. Set up with the bowl, you're gonna pop the stem side out. You may be able to peel the string off of one side to help open the pod. For the most part, you're gonna end up kind of taking that top stem piece off and then just breaking the pod open kind of long ways or maybe on a diagonal. There's no real wrong way to do this. You just wanna get all the beans out of the pods. Once they're all out, you can decide, do you need to sort them? Because we're gonna cook them in boiling water. And we want them to be similarly sized. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't break yourself and divide them into 3 groups of tiny ones and small ones and medium ones and giant ones. You can see mine are similarly sized. If you had any that were like unusually large, you might want to do those in a separate batch because they're probably gonna take a really long time to cook. And those are probably the starchy ones that you want to avoid anyway. Here we go, we're gonna cook them. We're gonna cook them in boiling water. So bring a pot to boil. Salted water is good. And once the water's boiling, beans go in and you want them moving. They don't need to boil hard. We don't want them rolling real fast, but we certainly want enough water so that they can swim, they can move. If you started on high heat with it boiling, it might turn it down to like a medium high, just so there's movement. They're gonna take a couple minutes, probably 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the size. And some of them may sink, some of them may float, some of them may float later as they kind of inflate. You'll see the skins like puff, and that's totally fine. Yeah, you give them a little stir, but they should be moving on their own with the water. How do you know when they're done? Well, I just said 2 to 3 minutes. That's a guideline. You've got to taste them. So grab like a medium bean out, pop the skin off of it, and you'll see that beautiful bright little green bean inside there, and taste it. Is it tender? We're looking for them to be tender. We're not going mushy, and we don't want them to have like a bite to them, like a raw kind of resistance to the bean. We want them to be tender. So a little bit subjective here. You've got to decide when they're tender enough for you and what you might be doing with them later. If you undercook them, they will kind of gray out on you, so you do want to make sure that they are cooked all the way through. So tender will be your indicator of that. If you have some really small ones, it's okay. You're not going to blow these guys out if you're cooking to the larger size of the beans that are in the pot. So, you know, lean into like the medium plus ones as your indicator of doneness. We're going to drain the water and we're going to shock them. We're going to ice them down, because icing them down is going to stop the cooking process and it's going to help retain that bright green color. Because if you don't shock them down and get them cold, they are going to turn gray. Drain them out, cold water, ice, and don't just leave them in there, because if you just let the beans sit at the bottom of the pot, they're going to stay warm. You want to move them around, get them cold. For this video, we're going to shell them after I drain them, but it's not unusual for me to just shell them in the cold water to get them cold. For two reasons. One, as I just said, to get them cold faster, but also to get them out of the skin, because inside the skin there's going to be a little bit of fluid that has an acidity to it that will discolor the beans. So you can make the process more efficient by shelling them just in the shocking water. We're going to do it the regular way, where I'm going to shell them so you can actually see what I'm doing, because it's easier to see that way. How do you know when they're cold enough? Taste one. Pop one out of the shell, taste it. And if it's cold, like you bite into it, it's like, oh, this bean's cold. Cool, let's drain them, put them in a bowl, and here we go back to our prep area to shell them. So we shucked them out of the pods. Now we're shelling them out of the skin. This is a quick, easy thing. If you kind of grab with like your thumbnail and pop the top of it off, like where it has the little, kind of like a stem piece, you should be able to just pop the bean right out of it. Some of them will have little slits in the skin already from expanding in the water and then bursting. So this should be a pretty easy process. Assembly line, just blow through all your beans, discard the skins, keep the beautiful green beans. Once you have a bowl of these beautiful green beans, we're going to give them a rinse. And this is going to help them stay green and fresh longer, because we're going to rinse off any of the residue that was on the beans from being inside the shell that has a bit of that acidity that causes discoloring. So I'm going to rinse them, cold water, pat them dry on a kitchen towel, and then they can go into the refrigerator in a covered container. From here, you're free to use them however you see fit. Now your fava beans are prepped. So if you have a recipe that calls for fava beans and it says, prep your fava beans ambiguously, now you know what to do. What can we do with these? Well, I think fava beans eat really nice in hot and cold preparations. Marinated cherry tomatoes, some bell peppers from the garden. These cherry tomatoes are from the garden too. Some radishes from the garden, and then some fava beans. I could see balsamic being good in here. A squeeze of lemon. You could do something with lime and cilantro. We could go basil with this, but some marinated fava beans and, you know, kind of summer vegetables is really nice, you know, with a piece of fish, even with a steak or something. What if we wanted to go hot? Well, here's an option. Saute pan, diced Spanish chorizo. I'm going to render out my chorizo just a little bit, get some of the oils out of it, get it to go light crispy, and then I'm going to add cherry tomatoes here. So kind of same summery stuff. We're just going more of a warmer vibe to it. I'm not trying to cook the cherry tomatoes. I think warm vinaigrette. So I'm kind of warming them up. I don't want to break them down and turn it into leathery cherry tomato skins and like tomato sauce. We're not going that way. We want them to be whole. We just want them kind of warm through. And then we've got roasted bell peppers from the garden, our fava beans, and from here I believe I went marjoram, chopped marjoram, which I think is a delightful herb with, you know, tomato-y based stuff. And to the plate, go to the plate, and steak. Yes, we could do steak with this. This is a nice summery steak dinner, sourdough bread on the side, and then, you know, just some grilled ribeye, Stanger Ranch beef. Stanger Ranch has great beef. And then some basil flowers. So we've got marjoram in there, we've got some basil flowers, we've got Spanish chorizo, a lot of interesting flavors going on here, definitely some summer vibes. So simple process. If we were to break it down in steps, what do we got? We've got selecting your beans, so you're getting the best ones that you can that are gonna be similarly sized so they cook the same. You're going to shuck them, you're going to blanch them, you're going to shell them, and you're kind of home free from there. These guys will be good in the fridge for, you know, 3 or 4 days, so you have the option to do, you know, a dinner and maybe a lunch, or like a dinner and a dinner, and use them in a couple different preparations. Because like I said, if I'm gonna go through the trouble of doing this and getting fava beans ready, I'd rather have enough of them so I can use them a few times versus going through the trouble of muling a handful of fava beans.